4 days ago, the Saints had odds of plus 300 to pick Sanders. On Friday night, following the news that quarterback Derek Carr has a shoulder injury that could require surgery, the Saints have moved into negative territory. That's a massive swing. From plus 300, DraftKings now has the Saints as minus 130 to take Sanders.
You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, let's talk about Shedeur Sanders. Last night, some things changed in the National Football League when we found out that Derek Carr has a shoulder injury that may be severe enough to require surgery. There's rumors, rotator cuff, torn labrum, something like that. Now, Diana Rossini actually put out something earlier about there seems to be some mystery around the league as to what the hell's going on here. Some people are speculating Derek Carr doesn't want to play for Kellen Moore. One of the reasons is they're the same age. So I don't know, if Derek Carr feels like maybe he knows more than his actual coach does about offense, and maybe that's coming across as a problem to Derek Carr. I just can't see manufacturing an injury here, right? Why wouldn't you just be like, you know what? I want to trade. Trade me off this team. Somebody would trade for Derek Carr. Now, who? I don't know. But you would think the Steelers would probably take a look at him, right? The Minnesota Vikings, if they think there's something going on with J.J. McCarthy, might take a look at him. I don't think the Cleveland Browns would be in it now, considering they just have Flacco and they're carrying Watson's salary, but you never know. Some people were saying that they were in the Cousins sweepstakes. Hell, I thought he was going there, to be honest with you. But I didn't know how they were going to work that magic, except we got to remember, and I didn't think about this in my video yesterday, the Cleveland Browns have that insurance policy literally on Deshaun Watson where they can get all that money back if he misses the entire 2025 season. And they've already cashed in on that once during his contract. So one of those years, they got all that money back on Watson's contract. They're hoping to do it again this year. So that leads us to Shedeur Sanders. A lot of mock drafts now have him going at number 9 to the Saints. They already had him going number 9 to the Saints. And I'm going to show you a really cool tool. This is called the NFL Mock Draft Database. Now, this is a tool where it actually formulates and combines all the big guys' mock drafts out there, right? All of them, like Michelle, I think Michelle and Kuiper and all these guys into one big board, which is pretty cool. All right, so I just learned about this tool the other day. I didn't even know it existed. And I'm big on tools with when it comes to these for analytical purposes like this. Shedeur Sanders, Colorado, is ranked 4th on this big board. Projection, New Orleans Saints. Now, could Derek Carr be pissed that they're thinking about taking a quarterback at 9? All right. Todd McShay came out the other day and said he moved Jaxson Dart, finally, who I got as the number 1 quarterback in this draft, moved him ahead of Shedeur and have the Saints taking Jaxson Dart. This has them taking Shedeur Sanders. I'm not a big fan. I'm not real high on him. He's my 4th quarterback on my board right now. And I could make an argument for 5th if you want to throw McCord in there. But nonetheless, and this has, let's just scroll down here. Jaxson Dart is their 26th player on the big board. Projection to the Steelers. So the Derek Carr thing is now influencing the Steelers in multiple ways. I talked about last night. Now they're going to look at, is Aaron Rodgers going to look at the Saints now? After the Steelers, I think we all know the Steelers think they've got Aaron Rodgers in tow. This is Quincy Avery. All right? He's involved with Elite 11, and he is a quarterback guru. All right? He's a quarterback coach. He said this on the Ryan Russillo podcast. I brought it up yesterday about where Shedeur Sanders would actually rank if he did not have Deion Sanders' last name. And this was eye-opening. I thought to myself, well, if this is the case, an NFL franchise may be about to make a huge mistake. So let's check this out.
I have a problem. There's an aspect of the game that I don't understand. And then I've heard teams talk about his interviews and his ability to even describe protections, right? Hey, Shedeur, show me a 6-man protection. And he's struggled with those things. So those are really concerning to me. And I know that he goes in the first round because of all the hype and all the things that we said. But I think if his last name was Williams, he is a 6th-round quarterback. I have a problem.
You heard what he said. If his last name was Williams, he'd be a 6th-round quarterback. And I listened to this entire podcast the other day, and he was talking about Shedeur having problems knowing if he needed to go take a hot route on a blitz, whatever. There was some things he was really struggling about, and the fact he was throwing so many passes, at or behind the line of scrimmage, which is a thing in college football, and it haunts all these quarterbacks coming out, to be honest with you. But the other thing is escapability. He doesn't have it. He's got some of the problems like hanging on to the ball too long like Caleb Williams, except he's not fast. He can't escape. Caleb Williams is mobile, all right? Shedeur is not. Now, he's a pretty good processor, but, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. So, this is interesting right here. The unexpected news, Saints quarterback Derek Carr has a shoulder injury, makes it more likely that the Saints will take a serious look at Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders when New Orleans is on the clock with the 9th overall pick. It's an accurate description of the situation. Okay, and this sets it up right here for this video. Now, look, Riddick and Deion are tight, is my understanding, but he's saying that Deion's camp, Shedeur's camp, doesn't actually want him to go in the top 3. Now, I can somewhat understand that because we've seen quarterbacks that drop in the draft sometimes mid-late rounds to better teams. I mean, they are better teams. There's a reason they're picking later. There's more stability in the organization a lot of times, and the teams around them are better. And I think the implication I'm getting out of this is that some of these bad interview situations that we've heard about Shedeur Sanders coming out of the combine interviews from multiple teams may be the fact that I guess maybe he's trying to turn off these top 3 teams. All right? And they don't want him to go there. Now, that's easy to say. Deion said something about, they went from we're going to be really picky to we'll go to anywhere. That's something that's happened in the last 10 days or so from Deion. Oh, we're good going to anybody. Well, wait a minute. You weren't. So what changed? The idea that he's about to drop down the draft board? Again, don't forget this. Half the league's got him as a 2nd-round quarterback. Half the league. 16 teams. So just throwing that out there. So this is Riddick right here.
Sherman, offensive coordinator. Shedeur is someone who wants to be collaborative. He is someone that you want to talk with. He doesn't like to be told just, this is the way we're going to do things, and then you're just going to need to fall in line. Swaggo in here. And he kind of he's earned that right because of the way he has played. This young man is going to be just fine. And you know what? I hope he doesn't go in the top 3 picks. I hope he doesn't. And I think his camp would tell you the same thing. There are other teams that they want to go to.
He could be in a better situation, obviously.
Okay, so he's saying there's other teams he wants to go to. They'd rather him not go in the top 3. Look, that can be a little bit of damage control for we're trying to get out ahead of the fact that he's about to drop in the draft. and there's a little saving face. All right. But yeah, I mean, that in theory, that is correct. They're better teams as you drop down. So it's an accurate description of the situation. It puts the team that holds the 8th overall pick in a position that's even more interesting. Carolina Panthers, right? So now that pick might become valuable because somebody will want to jump the Saints to get to Sanders. Okay, good luck. Any team that wants Sanders now knows it has to jump the Saints like the Chiefs did in 2017 when the spring up to get quarterback Patrick Mahomes at 10 before the Saints could take him at 11. So, yeah, people forget that. Sean Payton was going to take Patrick Mahomes. That could compel the Saints to move to number 7 with the Jets, or even number 6 with the Raiders, or maybe to number 5 with the Jags. Yeah, because there's been some fire out there around the idea that the Jets might look at Shedeur, but the Raiders might actually look at him. I think there's less of a chance now that they sign Geno Smith to that extension, but you never know. So, 4 days ago, the Saints had odds of plus 300 to pick Sanders. On Friday night, following the news that quarterback Derek Carr has a shoulder injury that could require surgery, the Saints have moved into negative territory. That's a massive swing. From plus 300, DraftKings now has the Saints as minus 130 to take Sanders. The Steelers are next at plus 350. So that's the two teams, and it's so weird. Here we are, Derek Carr's going to affect the Steelers in some kind of way here. All right? That's possible because what if they don't have their eye on Shedeur? Because there's a lot. You saw what I showed you from that mock draft database. Jaxson Dart is showing to be the projected pick by the Steelers. Not Shedeur, but let's say it is Shedeur. Man, that injury from Derek Carr has shifted a lot of things, and now there's a lot of moving parts. Things got a lot more interesting because of this. Now, the video to wait on is what is really going on with Derek Carr. I'm looking around, got my eyes, ears, I got everything open right now, waiting to find out what's going on with that. Is there some I want the hell out of the Saints? I will say this, Raiders fans, most of them love Derek Carr. Saints fans don't care for him too much. So I don't know if there's some of that. I don't even know where he would go. Again, Vikings, Steelers would open up, but why say injury? Why not just say, I think it's better if we part ways and they look for a trade partner? There would be teams that absolutely would look at Derek Carr. Would the Giants look at Derek Carr? I never even thought about that. Even with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. I mean, I don't know. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.